Hi everyone, it's Paul from Touchboard. Today I'm going to show you how to build the mobile HAC system. So open up all your parts, get them on the floor. First things first, get your wheels on your base. Use Loctite on the wheel threads, hand thread them in clockwise. Do that for all four. It's important to use thread locker on this. You can get that from Bunnings. If not, your wheels will loosen over time and cause you issues. Okay, so your base is ready. Now we're going to get the two actuator arms. They'll just go into your slots there. So they'll sit loosely for the moment. They stick out like a pair of Mickey Mouse ears. And there's threads on the bottom of these arms. So we'll get your four bolts. They're your skinny bolts, and we'll put them through the base and hand tighten on to your actuator arms. There's your bolt there. So it's just 8 altogether of them small bolts. And again, just everything in this system gets hand tightened until you're near the end. When everything is slotted in place and all the screws fit all the threads, then we can start to tighten it up with our tools. So we're doing the legs here. We're putting the frame onto the actuator legs. Okay, so I'm just wanting a bit of movement on my trolley. I can move that away now while I build my frame. So your frame, you got your two covers. Now it's important to establish what covers which. You see the hole on the side of that cover? We want that hole closest to the ceiling. That's the left hand side. The other side is the right hand side. Your middle part, that's your main frame. Again, you've got two medium-sized bolts. They will go through the side of your frame and into the thread, the thread into your covers, and that will screw on to your two covers on each side. So you've got two bolts on each side. So we get the left hand side done. I'll just line that up. I'll start off with hand, and then I'll eventually you can tighten this part with your tools. So left hand side's done. The right hand side's done. What you're looking at right now is the back of the system. The power board is already in. It's facing towards you. So you got your frame at the front of the covers. You got your access holes in the cover at the back of the frame. So once we've got that ready, we can bring our base back into it again. We've got our legs that are sitting loosely. We now have our frame. How do you know what's back and what's forward? The touchboard label on the base is the front of your system. So on your covers, you've got little channels as well. Two channels at the back. They will just fit beyond the arms. You'll be able to feel that. Because you have, when you're locking your frame into the arms, you've got long screws at the back and short screws at the front to lock it all in. All right, so that's what you should be looking at now. These four holes on your main frame, they're for your base amounts. 55-inch and 65. So if you have a 75-inch, we can provide extension bars to fit a 75-inch. These are a great system for the smaller screens. They look great. You haven't got too much frame or too much trolley for screen. So aesthetically, they're very pleasing for the smaller screens, which you'll see later in the video. Okay, so you've got your cables that stick out of your arms. You put on in your package, we put on the brains of the system. That sits below the power board. So choose the right Allen key. It's two very small screws. Again, you've got your threads that are built in to the frame, and on your brains you've got four ports. One's for a control switch. The other white ports are labeled M1, M2, and M3. M1 and 2 are for your legs. M3 is extra port if you're using a table easel system. M3 is actually for the tilt. So in this circumstance, we're using the controller port, M1 for the left leg, M2 for the right leg. Alright, so your brains are in. Just screwing in the last of that. And what we'll do now is we can start connecting your frame to your legs, and then eventually, so you want to use the small screws, the very small screws at the front. If you use screws that are too big, you're going to screw right through your legs and you could cause damage. So that it's a very small screws at the front and your longer screws at the back, because your longer screws are actually going through an internal channel that's built into the cover. So you do that, the four small ones at the front, you line that up with the leg. The leg again has built-in thread. So you line up your hole with the thread, hand tighten that on, and do the same for the back of the system. So here we have prepping the long bolt. Always use washers with your bolts. If not, it will cause a bit of damage to your frame and your covers. Always use washers. It gives you that extra radius as well, so a screw's not going to go through the hole. Okay, so that's the front. I'll bring you to the back. You see the other four screw holes. Again, these are for your longer bolts. Our cabling is coming into place. We've got the connector cables. They'll connect to the yellow cables in the legs. So the system is coming on. So again, use your brakes in the system, in your base. You may need to move your system left or right, your frame left or right, to match up with your threads. Once you do, get your longer bolts in there, and again you can start tightening that up. So we've got the two there, hand tightened. Put your other two in. Once you're happy with all that, you can now fully tighten with your Allen key your bolts onto the legs. So you're at the stage where you can, once you've done attach the covers on securely, you can go to the bottom of the base and tighten up your leg screws as well. Now you don't need that flexibility anymore. You've got all the vital bolts in place. Okay, so this is what your system should be looking at like by now. We're using our just hand tightening up the shorter bolts, and we'll be putting on the side covers, which are two panels with the handles, onto your system. What they'll do as well is they'll conceal your cables and your legs in the system. So they slide into the gap on the two covers at the sides, and they require 6 small screws and washers. And again, there's built-in thread to the covers, and you start screwing them in. As I said, we can now do, I've got my drill there. I'm just going to screw in the bottom bolts to secure the legs and the system to the base now. So that's all. We're going to make that tight. Okay, so as I was talking about earlier, we've got the two side covers. We're going to close up our main covers now by slotting these side covers into the holes. They got threads, match them up with the holes, and it's six screws to each side. So just finishing off that side. So you do the front, you do the back, and then you do the same for the other side. So that's the front there. That's the back done. I've added on the switch. Your switch, you got the option, you can secure that through two bolts that are already there onto the cover, or you can, if you're adding on a panel or screen, you can also attach that to the side of your screen. Now it's cable management. The system, the frame is built with cable runs. So attach your cables in, cable tie in, and your system will be ready for your panel. So we'll just finish off that cable tie. Right, we'll snip off the loose cable ties, the ends that are sticking out. We've got the system plugged in, and now we will test the height before adding on any screens to it. So you got an up down on the digital controller. There's also another two functions, but that's for the table easel for the tilting mode. So put it up, double check all your cables. I'll move the trolley, make sure everything looks good, it looks neat from the front. There's an extra 4 bolts with this as well for mounting to your screen. So they go through the outer holes. That's a 65-inch. Add on your panel power. We'll cable tie that on, and your system will be ready to go. That's what it looks like from the front. Thank you for watching.